It's all good. Okay. Welcome back to New Patients Now. My name is Flint, your host as always, and excited to be here today with a special guest and a national champion by default of being an alumni of the University of Indiana. I'm going to give you credit for that.
Thank you. I played a huge part. I
Yeah.
was at 3 games.
Yeah.
And I feel like Signetti and I was helping a lot.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. No, so it's funny. Obviously, I played football in school, and I pay a lot of attention to that, and so that whole run I thought was unbelievable. But excited to have you in studio today. Thank you for making the trip and being here in person. I definitely think there is something to actually getting to be here as opposed to on the other end of the screen. That's great, but we're in a people business, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yep.
But
is way better in Zoom.
100%. And so, alumni of Indiana, 2 twin daughters, right? We'll get into all the details, but 10 practices now on the way to 14 or 12, basically, in the next 7 months.
Like 3, but
3 months, yeah. So a lot of complexity and a lot of stuff going on in your life, which I think will be interesting for people to understand what that takes, and generations in dentistry. So what was a family thing. So excited to have you here. Also an alumni member. So love to see successful people who have been through the program and just like take it and run. So gonna kind of go all over the place today, and we'll see where it takes us.
Let's do it.
But if you could, without going too deep, because then we end up here for 3 hours, which we could. Take me back to the moment you decided I want to do this thing, right? Because I'm always fascinated by when we have doctors whose parents were in the industry, right? There's 2 versions of that. There is, I saw it and I saw how much they hated it, and so I kind of told myself I'm never doing that. Or they saw something different and it was like, well, what got you curious enough about dentistry to make that choice as your path?
Pizza Hut.
Pizza.
So like wow. So going back to the great 80s, by the way, like maybe 88, 87, 88, 89. We would go out to like every Friday night we go to Pizza Hut with my family, and my dad knew everybody. He knew everybody. He knew everybody on the north side of Fort Wayne. And I'm like, this is wild to me. I'm like, I want to do that. And he was so relational. And it just like the people skills that he had. The dude was a freaking local legend. And at the time, like, I didn't know that was like the thing.
Right.
I'm like, he's a dentist. Okay, cool. My grandfather was a dentist. My dad was a dentist. It really had nothing to do with teeth. I mean, that's like wild. Like people are like, I'm going into it because I love teeth. Nobody loves teeth.
Yeah, just love them.
I just love teeth. No, you don't. But for me, it was going to Pizza Hut on Friday nights, and my dad knew everybody. People would come up to our table, Dr. Hughes, good to see you again. I'll see you in 2 months. Or, hey, this is your son that you've been talking about for the last 2 years. Yeah. Brad, I know you. And I'm like, how does this person know me?
Yeah.
And I was fascinated by that. I was so drawn to that. I'm like, that's what I want to do.
That's great. So it wasn't even because a lot of people will say, well, I like the flexible lifestyle, or it seemed like they made money or whatever. But it sounds like you were more attracted to the relational, like human impact piece of it. Am I hearing that right?
100%. I think I grew up in admittedly, like I probably grew up in a little bit of a bubble. I grew up on the northeast side of Fort Wayne, Indiana, in a little town called Leo, which was like 5 minutes outside of Fort Wayne. Admittedly, it was a little bit of a bubble. So I thought everybody had the same lifestyle we did. And we didn't have an extravagant lifestyle. We took a vacation every year. We'd go to Hilton Head Island, or we'd go to Disney when I was younger or whatever. But it wasn't like we were gallivanting through Europe and driving Porsches, and through Fort Wayne, Indiana. But we were very comfortable.
Yeah.
So it was really just the people skills and the ability to be relational with people. And I loved that about my dad. To me, he was a freaking rock star. And, we were driving down to Indiana for my freshman year. And, we're in my amazing minivan that we had, by the way.
It's just awesome.
We're halfway down there. We're probably on the north side of Indy. And, my dad says, what do you want to do? I'd like to go to dental school. I'm going to major in biology. And in my dad's eyes, in the rearview mirror, I kind of saw him go, that was it.
Yeah.
There was never talk about it. It was just, nobody pressured me to do anything. They literally didn't even know what I was going to major in until that moment.
Until the drive.
Until the drive there. I'm more worried about
That's
how the hell
great.
do I do laundry.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you want to
Wait a
major in? I'm
minute.
like,
I
dude,
gotta figure
don't worry about my major. Like, I got to figure out how to do laundry. Like,
Uh,
this is a mess.
yeah.
So, my dad was a rock star to me.
That's awesome. That's cool. No, it's funny because people will ask me the same thing. It's like, how'd you end up here? It's like, well, it wasn't the plan. I had all these other plans. My first plan was I was going to go play in the NFL, but that didn't quite work out. Too short, too slow. So that didn't work. But I convinced them. It's in the other bookshelf, but I convinced them to put a SI logo on a helmet. So I'll just keep that forever. So in a different way. But yeah, I was kind of going down the finance track and about halfway through school, so I wasn't as early as you. It was that same conversation. What do you want to do? And I was like, I think I want to do this. And the response I got was a little bit more like, are you sure you know what you're talking about? Like, do you understand what that comes with? And I think, so hearing those stories of how that conversation happens for me is always so interesting. So, okay. So then I assume
And
he
by
was,
the way, your dad's kind of a big deal. Like, to me, my dad was a rock star. Like,
Yeah.
your dad is a pretty big rock star. So, like,
Yeah.
following that, like, kudos. Like, I give you complete, like, I get it at a smaller level. It's hard.
and I appreciate that. And it's all that same thing, right? And so I think anybody who has to step into, whether it's a family practice or family business or whatever it is, it's, and was your grandfather did he have the practice before your dad, or
He
was
did
it
not.
elsewhere?
Different
Okay.
town,
A
but
different one.
yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't like he went through it and then you went through it, right? It's like you
No,
were
my dad and my grandfather practicing together, they would have killed each other.
okay.
So,
So you were the first one to take that that jump, and it's always so interesting to see how that plays out, because we have a lot of clients who at this point are getting into that stage of life where the kids are now into dental school, coming out, joining the practice, making that choice, and just like watching how that gets handled is so interesting to me. Right? And there's some very interesting is not the word. There's some messed up ways that gets handled, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's perfect in it, but it's a unique bond for those who do go through that. So that's awesome. So got into it, and it sounds like he was pretty supportive of that. It looked like that facial expression was like, oh, interesting. Okay, nice.
My exit plan. Great.
Yeah, there we go. So Indiana for undergrad. Did you did dental school there as well? So stayed there. And when you got out of school, did we just go straight into the practice?
2007.
Awesome.
Graduated Mother's Day of 2007, and I think I started June 11th. So it was like 1 month.
Yeah,
and
right into it.
Boom. Yeah.
That's good. Good for you. I took like 6 months in between. I just
Stuff to do.
dove right in. Yeah, bunch of nothing, basically. Okay, so started there, 2007, and when you walked into the practice that first day, were you associate Dr. Hughes? What was that like going through the transition of, we had Dr. Hughes, now we got like this other younger, whatever phrase they wanted to use at the time.
Junior.
Right? Junior. So that was the name.
The endearing name.
Yeah.
Junior. And because a lot of them knew me when I was 7, 8,
Yeah.
12 years old. So it was just a different level. Like, I was going to have to go earn it. And I think that's what I set out to do on day one. Like, I was an associate, but my dad had sort of 1 foot already out. Like, I'm pretty sure on like day 1 or 2, he was like, do you care if I go to the range today and hit balls at like 3? And I'm like, dude, it's my first day. Like, what? You're already out? Like, what is going on here? I'm like, but that's fine. And so, he already kind of had that in his mind. He's like, you step in, it's going to be yours.
3 became 245, 245 became 2. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and then 3 became, oh, by the way, I'm going to go to South Carolina and play golf for the weekend, and I'm taking a day
That's
off.
great.
But it was very early. It was junior. That was what I stepped into.
Yeah, that's a tough.
It was different,
right?
Yeah.
Do you actually have the same name? Like, are you actually Junior, or was that just the tagline?
No,
okay.
I was Junior Hughes.
Yeah. So that's like, it's funny. A lot of times people will say, well, you walked into your dad's practice, must have been super easy. That's its own kind of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine walking into your office. If you're watching this and you walk into your office first day and someone's just like, what's up, Junior? Like,
it's wild. Yeah.
Like, so what did you have to do to kind of get into maybe the not the persona, but like the identity of, I'm not going to take Junior? Because if people see you on social media or anything today, they're like, that's not Junior, right? This is like, this guy's got his shit together. He's like rocking and rolling. But there had to be an evolution process. Mm-hmm. So what was that was there like a first iteration of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first iteration is you just got to realize, like, you've just got to compartmentalize that. They're not negatively trying to be a certain way. But I also had to learn very quickly that my dad's ability to be confrontational about something like that was zero.
With the team?
With the team.
Yeah.
So, like, I realized that was something that I was going to have to unlearn from myself as well, because I kind of had that same trait, and I knew over time I was going to probably have to get a little better at this. So I, within that first month or two, I'm like, man, Dad, like, I don't know, man, like this Junior thing. And he's like, oh yeah, they're just saying that because, but I'm like, we don't see it the same way.
Yeah.
For him, it was like, sweep it under the rug and just go. So, but I was like, okay, just do the work. Just do the work. And so I really set out, just put my nose down, and I'm like, man, this is an unbelievable practice though. Let's go double this. And I think it was like literally week 2 or 3. I'm like, we're going to double this thing. And he's like, you're going to double this thing.
Like, we aren't doing anything.
Okay. And so that, so that was how I just started coming in every day. And I'm like, the team's either going to get behind this or they're not, but I need them to. Yeah. And some did and some didn't over time. But I literally, I mean, I think it was like week 2. I'm like, this is awesome. This place is awesome. Let's go double it.
So what was that first practice? How many operatories? How many team members?
What did we have? We had 8 or 9. I think we had 8 ops. Team members. I think we had a couple hygienists. We probably had 3 assistants at the time, and a couple up in the front office.
Okay.
We were doing. I mean, it was a good practice. Like, this was 2007. We were doing $1.3 million, $1.4 million.
Yeah. So 1-3-1-4, 8 chairs. So what was that first push, right? So obviously today you have 10 offices. So there's a trajectory. Mm-hmm. How long were you in that first office?
I was there until 2018.
Okay.
So about 11 years.
So if you spark noted 2007, 8 chairs, 1-4, 2018, right? Like chapter 1 of, I mean, there's probably a few chapters in there, but in theory, it's a 12-year chapter.
There were a few chapters.
So what all happened in that, right? So one office, and this I think is what will resonate with a lot of the people listening, is that challenge of the one practice, and then just all the life that happens as you try and grow it.
I think the number one thing that had to happen was, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go take this team and the practice to the next level. But what I didn't realize was it actually had to start with me. I needed to go to the next level. I needed to become a better leader. I needed to get out into the community and start that journey of building brand and becoming that rock star. I needed to be the one just leading the whole charge, which I was doing, but the skills weren't there yet.
What do you
skills
mean by
weren't
that?
there. My skill set, my leadership wasn't there yet. My knowledge of what it was going to take to double the practice wasn't there yet. I didn't know how we were going to do that. So I was coming in every day, energized, but I don't think my skill set was there. And I think, if a dentist is like, well, let's go triple this thing, they got to start with themselves. I think I was probably leaning on the team a little too much. I'm like, no, guys, if we just work harder, we'll get there. But the reality is I needed to get really intentional about the 30 things that needed to be, or maybe just the 6 things that needed to be the foundational things that needed to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I was maybe focusing on one when I needed to know what the other 5 were.
Yeah.
I
What
just wasn't there yet.
what were those for you?
I think, you talk about being an SI alum. I mean, I think it was like 2013, 14 when I really started to understand my own self-accountability, my own self-awareness. It's understanding how to generate new patients, understanding truly what case acceptance meant, understanding what the value of a new patient, average revenue per new patient, so that we could really set actual goals. Like, look, if the average revenue for a new patient is $5,000 and I want to do $2.5 million, well, this is how many new patients I need. And actually having tangible things instead of just coming in and going, guys, let's go increase our new patients. It became much more process oriented. But I think I became much more self-aware of my own, the confrontational thing and being a better leader was a big one. Like, I had to unlearn some things, like big time. That was a big piece. And that took 3-4 years for me to get to that point.
So, and I think that's probably the norm, right? So if you look at the profile of the average dentist in America, right? Probably not super high confront.
Yeah.
Probably not. Well, what's funny is a lot of them probably aren't saying, let's go triple the thing. They're probably not.
Right.
It's low confront and like, do I really want to say that I want to do that? Because of all the things that come with that. So even in saying, I want to triple the practice, what, if any, like judgment from peers did you experience?
Well, I mean, I think you get into, there's always the virtue signaling around, it's always about money. But when you understand that money follows value creation and all you're trying to do, create value and over-deliver at scale, one patient at a time, every hour, every day, for weeks, months, years, money follows the value creation. And that's all I was trying to do, was just one patient at a time. And so for me, I'd like, look, if I could just keep creating more value, more value, more value, more value, there's no way this thing doesn't triple. There's no way. And that's exactly what happened. So, but it's hard to block out that noise sometimes because you do talk to people. You talk to other dentists. You're just talking about money. I'm like, no, I'm talking about being great at these 5 or 6 things, being elite at these 5 or 6 things.
Yeah.
Because that's how you shit out a dollar bill. Because if you're not elite at these, that dollar bill doesn't show up. You get a nickel.
Yeah.
And that's not how you create impact.
Right. Why do you think it is that, it's funny, at the same time, I feel like in the industry, you have a bunch of people who are saying, don't make it about the money, while also complaining about not feeling like they're getting what they wanted out of the practice and out of this profession that they thought was going to be something different.
Yep.
Like, what do you think is going on with that?
My best guess, it's purely an educated guess, and this is based on, I get a lot of DMs on Instagram about this. I get a lot of DMs on TikTok and LinkedIn about this, where it's that same thing. They're like, it's not about money, but it's always comma but. However, man, my life would be a lot better if I just created a margin. How do you do that? Why don't we just get rid of it's insecurity.
Yeah.
It has to
be. So it's like I want this, but before I say I want it, I need you to understand that it's not about that for me.
It's not about that for me.
But I want all the things that come with it.
Yes.
Okay.
It has to be money bias. Fun. Like, you've got a dentist who they're the most successful member of their family.
Yeah.
And they go to Thanksgiving and their siblings and their in-laws and their parent, they're all like, Johnny's making money now. And they almost dumb it down. Or it's just wild insecurity.
Yeah.
And the amount of insecurity in the dental space that I have come across over the last 19 years in practice blows my mind.
Why do you think that is?
I think you've got a lot of people that are very smart. They're very smart dentists. They're very smart individuals. And I would say, let me caveat it with the people. Let me go into this, but I'll add to the story here at the end. I think you've got very smart people.
Mhm.
They get into dentistry, and all of a sudden, it's not about being smart, and it's not about procedures. It's about people. We're 100% a people game, and they didn't realize that going into it. And that's not their strong suit. They're great at having their nose in a book. They're great at sitting on the second row in dental school, being got all the answers. And then they get out, and it's all about people.
Yeah.
And now it's like they don't want to develop those soft skills now, because it's all about the procedures, right? It's I can slap implants in, I can do Invisalign, I can do this, but it's about people, and it's about influencing people to say yes. And I think there's just a lot of insecurity around that. I think they identify with the smart person that they are. That they got good grades and they got into dental school and they did these things and they own a practice and they should be wildly successful, but they struggle because they don't have the soft skills. And it just creates a ton of insecurity. But I think the ones that we find I see it in less. We were talking about this morning, are in former athletes. When you look at, like, you're used to taking feedback. You got your butt reamed, I'm sure, in college playing football. Every day, you're used to the feedback. Yeah. So if somebody gives you feedback now, you're like, yeah, okay, boom, let's go.
Yeah, fair.
But most dentists,
it's not the norm.
It's not the norm. They're an A student. They did well on the DAT. They've just never been told that there might be a different way to do things.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're like, man, this isn't working as well. I just keep better making it about, like, all the things except money, because I don't want anybody to think that this is about money, money. It's about procedures, when it's really not.
Yeah. And, I always hate what do you think about this generation or whatever? But, I mean, there is some reality to the lack of feedback, right? And I think the math would probably work out that those are your newer grads about now, if not maybe a few years, like in the last couple of years, right? So the whole, athletes get it, but, in some places that even isn't totally true. Depends how far you went.
There's a lot, and there's a lot of 8th place trophies now.
True. Yeah.
So,
although, that's... what's funny? So I always give people shit for that, but then I think back, and the first year I ever played football, I was in 5th grade, and I remember, so we went to the championship, and we lost on a controversial call, but then I remember back, and I was like, but there was still a big-ass trophy in the house from that, so, like, what happened? Like, literally, our coaches are like, screw those guys. That was bullshit. The refs screwed us. We're all getting big championship trophies. So I was like, is that better because we got second, or it's probably still not great. I hadn't thought about it in a long time, but it's an interesting version of a participation trophy. Yeah. It's a champion.
At least it was second, though. Like, at least it was second. You didn't finish 8th.
Yeah,
it wasn't like you finished in, like, the second consolation game.
Yeah, exactly.
And lost.
Right? So it's like when Indiana beat Alabama by, like, 400 points this year, right?
Roll Tide.
I don't think they got was that a bowl game?
That was the Rose Bowl.
Oh, you don't even get ranks for losing bowl games. So they didn't get anything. Yeah. So they didn't get that.
Alabama got squat. Besides an ass kicking.
Did they get any points?
They scored 3, which is the same amount of points Purdue scored on Indiana this year. So Alabama and Purdue
have that one ready to go.
Are pretty much on the same level right now.
Basically the same.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Purdue and Alabama.
Yeah. Saban, come back. Got a picture of him and I somewhere in here. That's awesome. So, okay. So pretty significant. Number one, it's like, I think the self-awareness thing is huge throughout that process. And that's your piece of it. And was that, in your eyes, the biggest thing that had to happen when you were in the solo practice era?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was, but also, like, I'd always had a golf coach. I played sports growing up. Like, there was always somebody there to help me continue to get to that next level. And I distinctly remember in 2013 sitting in the consult room, pre-huddle. I'm like, I know we can do better than this. And it was like that was the point where I had been seeing a lot of, like, your dad sent a lot of stuff to me, right?
Yeah,
and it was I finally woke up to the realization, probably after 100 direct mailers. I'm like, damn it, Hughes. That's what you've been needing right there.
Yeah.
go do it. And it's like it's the same thing with social media. Like I working with, we've done a little bit of work with D-Rock, David Rock, who helped build Gary's brand from like very early on. And D-Rock was like, at what point did you finally realize you needed to build a personal brand? And I'm like, it's probably 500 hours of
Watching
Gary's
other
content.
people's
He's
stuff,
like,
yeah.
well, I'm glad that we got you in so quickly. I'm glad you're so
Yeah.
But I would say it was probably, but 2013, I distinctly remember, I'm like, I know we can continue this progression. I felt like I was at that point now where I had some of that self-awareness. I was ready to take that next leap, but I'm like, I need a coach.
Yeah.
And that was the point where it was like, that's the spot I got to go to right there. Gotcha. And then we did. I think we signed up the next day.
Love that. So first 6 years was the, hey, head down. Let me just rock this thing, right? And I think there's a lesson in persistence and repetition in that, right? For anybody who's thinking about, well, maybe, like it's always interesting. Do you wish you had done it sooner, or do you think you had to go through what you went through to ultimately get what
I needed
happened?
To go through what I went through?
Right.
Yeah. I needed to be fully ready.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're not going to, it's in one ear, out the other. You're just
yeah.
not there yet.
Yeah.
Like, I think so many people, and you know this, they get the info on Friday and by Monday they've forgotten it, or they go back to the team and there's a little pushback.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, Susie doesn't want to do any of that. So like, yeah, you know what, Susie, you're right.
Yeah.
I had to be in a position where I was like, there's no plan B.
Right.
We are burning the boats.
And
we are taking this to the next level.
And the team had to be either on the same page or moving in the same direction.
I had built a team at that point that was also ready.
Yeah.
And that was important too.
Yeah. And I'd probably learned the lessons of if someone's not going to be on the, if they don't want to go where we're going, like they got to get off the boat.
Yep.
Right. So some of those lessons you got to learn tough. Some of those you got to learn slow.
Yes. The answer is yes. You got to, but you got to learn them. And for some of us, we learn them faster than others. I'm sure other people learn it in a much shorter amount of time than I did. But you've got to learn. If they are not on,
or 25 years,
but learn it.
Yeah.
If they're not rowing in the same direction as you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's tough, right? Because it's low confront.
Yeah.
Right. That's the model. Mm-hmm. Okay. So 7 to 13, you decide, hey, you know what? I feel like I've kind of hit how far I can run this thing without some guidance. Start getting coached in 13. What was the biggest thing you got from that process, right? With coaching for yourself, training for your team, like if you look back at that period.
I had a bigger mindset.
Yeah.
I was going, dude, we're going to go get $2+ million and my life's set, man. Shit. Like, no, I mean, anybody who's even remotely competitive. And all of a sudden now you're hanging out with, people who are doing 4.5 and 6, and you're like, dude, I'm nothing. Like, I'm doing the thing and I'm in the process and
there's this
I'm
whole
early,
other level.
but there's a whole nother level. I'm like, I want to get to that level. How do I create that much value? How do I build that kind of team? And I just needed to think bigger. I needed those self-imposed limitations to be gone.
Yeah.
That was the next step for me, was limitations got to go. So it was like I was self-aware. At least I was self-aware enough to know the limitations were there, because I'm like, okay, we can do $2 million. And my goal was like get to 3+, but then you're like, man, but they're doing 7. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I know what kind of value they're creating for their patients. At that number, like, whoa, let's go do that.
And I think, to give you credit for this, looking at it through that lens of they're doing 7, I'm doing 2, imagine all the value they're creating for the patient base. Instead of, what are they doing wrong? Or how are they cheating? Or how are they gaming the system?
Yeah.
Or, right? So like anybody who really grows a practice significantly, it's funny. It's like, that's when the judgment starts to come. It's like, well, they must be doing a bad job with a bad patient experience.
Yeah.
And they're not providing
work
value.
that doesn't need to be done.
Yeah.
Okay. They're actually doing the opposite. They're the most ethical dentists, creating the most value, all the things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So get to 18. So obviously that continued to grow, and you made a decision at one point. I'm going to go from one office to how many?
I knew I really liked building teams. And
So
I
what's the
liked
fastest way to do that?
what's the fastest way to do that. And I knew I loved watching people grow. And I'm like, I want to be a part of that. You know, like one of the things that, you know, Jay had said early on was like, you know, if like everybody, you say, hey, like hold up 5 fingers, like who are the 5 most influential people in your life? And I'm like, I want to be a finger for as many people as I can.
Yeah.
But I also had like a little bit of that entrepreneurial like itch, and I'm like, man, I kind of like, because we had by 2018 we had built to around 3.5 million in Leo, and I was like, this is about what I can do on my own. Like I was still only working 4 days a week, and we were bringing in an associate. Like we could have added time, we could have had another day or two and hours and all the thing. I mean, I was working 7 to 5:36 to do that. Like, but I was like, you know, I'm pretty good. Like I felt pretty good with where we were. I wanted to go build bigger teams, and kind of scratch that entrepreneurial edge. And you know, so scale became kind of appealing to me.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't have a set number at that point.
Okay, so there was not like a.
There was no
I
like
want to have 12 or whatever.
No.
So did it start with, I assume, one more?
Yeah. So 2019 we acquired our second practice. So I was debt free.
Yep.
Had paid off the first practice. Had tripled the first practice, and I was like, okay, let's go.
Yep. Which a lot of people are like, debt free, just like stay there, don't do anything. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. No, this is boring. Let's go.
Okay, so we go get the other one. So practice 2 is in 2019. When did 3 come?
2 more in late 2020.
Okay. And then were those like COVID scoop ups, or were those?
One was a startup, and one was just a guy that was looking to work 2 more years and
get out.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 more in 20. So then you're at 4. Then 21. We don't have to go through the.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the math.
Like what month? What?
You want me? Yeah, I'm trying to remember 5 years ago. I'm like,
yeah, no, a lot's been going on. So eventually get to 12. So what was the most surprising thing to you of going from one practice, one roof, right? So a lot of times they say like, hey, the more roofs, the more complexity. So what surprised you, and maybe what was most challenging about that?
I think the most challenging thing has still been standard is the standard. Taking that standard from one location to the other. Because we did a deal in Atlanta, acquired 4 practices. This was in 22. Had a 20% rollover partner. There were 4 practices that weren't doing very well. I'm like, we can get these going. And we did. We more than doubled the production, collections. We had recruited some good teams. We had this thing going, but the partner was not rowing downstream with me. He wanted to work 10 to 2 and play golf the rest of the time. Yeah. It was a royal pain to my management team. I'm like, I can't do this. But I'd put a lot of cash into it to get them going. Like 3 of them were basically de novos or renovos. And I learned that the hard way, that you've got to have people on board. I don't care what level, and especially at a doctor level. And so I sold them and took a bit of a loss. But I would do it again in a heartbeat. So no matter how many roofs you have, the standard has to be the standard. And I think what that did is it continued to narrow our focus on people, alignment. And it doesn't have to just be around core values. Like, they don't just have to check a box. Like, sure, yeah, I have the will to win. Like, okay, maybe you do. But because he would have said he was right down that list. But was he really aligned? Was he really moving downstream with us? The answer was no.
Yeah. And we can say, yes, I also think all those values are good things, and not actually do them. Right?
Yes.
Like, that's actually super easy to do.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So I love that you bring up this standard, because I want to spend some time on that. I talk a lot about this because, most of what we do so the Scheduling Institute, right? And then we have the Practice Growth Institute, which is the coaching business. So our 5X programs and all that. But really where I get to focus is that whole You'll remember that new patient pipeline, right? So
Mhm.
first touch, first time you walk in the door, first time somebody sits you in the chair, first time somebody offers you treatment, right? Like every interaction in between.
Mhm.
Okay. How important, like when you say standards, to me, there's your standard of
Mhm.
here, this is what I need to be as a leader, this is what I got to do. But then it's like, what's the blocking and tackling? What are the basic fundamentals that every person who walks through this front door is going to have to deal with,
Mhm.
right? And that can be challenging to get everybody on the same page too.
Mhm.
So,
It's very challenging.
number one, getting to the standard for the first time. Curious on like your experience with that and any initial hiccups, because that'll be most relatable, I think, to people. But then would love to hear, okay, great. Now once we got it, how do we make sure that can be replicated? What does
Mhm.
that really take in practice?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was probably, because I was like 6 years into that process and that
Mhm.
journey when we first started to go, okay, patient walks in, stand up, greet him with a smile. Like, shouldn't be on the phone at that moment. Like, here's how we're going to go get him out of the reception room, not waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how we're going to introduce, you want water, you want chapstick, you want a blanket, like our comfort menu. Here's
Mhm.
how we're going to do it. I had a team kind of built that was sort of ready for that. But when you take that and you put it into an office that's not ready for that, all of a sudden when you give that new patient tour and at the very end and you say, should Dr. Hughes choose to accept you as a new
That
patient,
scarcity
we'd love to
phrase.
see your friends, family, and coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a hygienist that's going, oh, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
If I went somewhere and you said that, I wouldn't come back. I'm like, well, let's talk about that. Why? What piece do you not think we do a good job? Why do you think we shouldn't set an expectation for a new patient when they come in that we do want them to refer us to friends, family, and coworkers? Like, it's just, there's just weird things that you have to be able to really have honest conversations about to get them to understand that, again, it's not about procedures. It's about ethically influencing patients.
Mm-hmm.
We have to create scarcity. We have to create urgency. We have to have authority with white jackets and name tag. Like, you got to look like your first date ready. Like, we have to do these things in order to get that patient to say yes. Because what we're saying is we want 85% of our patients to say yes. But the way you want to do it, maybe 50% will say yes.
Right.
And I'm not okay with that.
Or the way of I'm actually just not going to track it and never know.
Yes.
which
even better, I think it's 90% when it's really
I actually
46%.
think everyone's accepting treatment. It's
Yeah.
like, interesting. Like the number of times I hear that, it just blows my mind. And I have to imagine as you like approach new offices and you're just like, well, how are we operating today? Like, oh, pretty good. All our patients love us. They all refer. And most of them say yes to treatment unless they just
100%.
don't need it. I was like, well, that's the easy thing to assume. That is like almost always false. So, okay. And so at that point, because some of the biggest challenges that we have in trying to implement stuff like that into offices is that first time the team member pushes back when we're not in the room.
Yep.
Right. So like we can send a trainer out into the office. They spend a whole day putting this process together. Everyone's aligned to it. And then trainer walks out the door. Everybody goes home for the weekend. We come back on Monday. Right. How important is it that like if you want anything to change in your practice for the better,
Burn the
doctor
boats.
kind of has to have a little bit of a backbone to what they have.
There's not a practice out there that is a good practice or an elite practice that does not have a strong doctor leader. Every single practice that is good, I'm going to say great or elite, has a strong doctor leader, which means they've burned the boats, and on Monday morning when SI is not there anymore, this is how we're doing it.
Yes. And
we're going to get good at it. There are no exceptions. And they're willing to accept the ramifications and the consequences that come with that. And that is the hard part.
I think the assumption is if I'm too much of a hard ass, then Susie's going to quit. It's like, well, how bad is that? Is that actually a bad thing?
Because Susie's trying to hold you down anyways.
Yeah.
But Susie's real complacent with where Susie's at right now.
Right. No,
so 100%. It is usually a good thing if Susie's not there. And I get it in today's world. the recruitment world we're in, it's hard.
Mhm.
But you got to understand you're trying to build something for 5 years from now, not 5 days from now.
And I think that's the challenge until you do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this whole idea of I want to build an attractive practice to patients, an attractive practice to team members, right? To where, great, you're going to want to come to work here. Yeah, I always love people say it's hard to recruit. Like you have 10 offices, so yours is a little more complicated. When the person with one practice comes in, it's hard to find people. I can't find anyone good. It's like, well, number one, you should probably stop saying that for the rest of your life because until you stop saying it's impossible to find somebody, it's probably going to continue to feel that way to you.
Completely impossible. Yeah.
And it's funny, like we just skip right over the fact that you live there. There's a reason you live there. Do you tell them about those reasons? And it's like, no, of course not. So it's like, I think, and I'm sure you deal with this because how many team members do you have today total?
A little over 100.
Right. So, like anytime someone says I've tried everything, what's the truth?
Yeah, they have an Indeed ad.
Yeah.
and they put a few dollars behind it or something, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is they've built no brand. Nobody knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a complete commodity just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Like if you're not going to go out and put yourself on Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn where people can see you and you can build a relationship with them. Now all of a sudden Jane saw you on Instagram for 8 months and she's like, that's the office that has an opening.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a cool place.
Yeah.
Cool dude, cool woman. Like I want to go work there. That's a different avenue than I've tried everything.
Right.
No, you took out an Indeed ad like one time and you were too cheap to even like put any money behind it.
Yeah.
So it's like a free Indeed ad.
Yeah. It's the free version.
It's the free version
of the person. Like even if you just were talking about someone answering the phones, right? Like you understand the value of a new patient. We train on that a lot. But like if every new patient's worth $3,000-$4,000 a pop and you're not willing to spend $200 to recruit someone at the front desk who is handling, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars of opportunities on a quarterly, monthly, depending on your practice size basis. Like it's just that filter, right? So yeah, it's good. A lot of good nuggets. So I think if you're listening to this, what you don't want to do is be like, okay, great, I'm going right to 10 offices. It's like find the things, find like 2-3 things you can go do tomorrow, right? Because I assume that's what you did. You found the thing, you latched onto it, you committed to it, you did it, right? So it's like I need to understand myself a little bit more.
Yep.
I got to fix this one thing.
Yep.
Then I got to fix these 5 things, and then that's how the scaling kind of snowballed over time.
Over 19 years.
Right. That's the other thing, right? People probably see you today and they're like, must be nice.
Must be nice. Yeah. And I'm like, and it's wildly different now than it was 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So now my challenges are different, but I had to develop the skill set to be able to handle these challenges so that so I can sleep at night. And so that, it's because it is hard, but it's, but you've got it. It's just you. It's a you game. And I think, there's a lot of blame out there. There's a lot of, people get complacent and they want to blame a practice manager or the macroeconomic, or they want to blame a president because of whatever, or the economy's not good, whatever it might be. But ultimately it's just you.
Yeah.
And I think I had to learn that early on.
Yeah. Love that. If you had to give a young doctor or, maybe somebody who's earlier on in their practice ownership experience, like if there's one thing you wish you knew, year 2 or 3, right, that you would want to pass along to them, what would that be?
I think 2 things that I would pass along. 1,
over deliver. I asked for 1, you get 2.
3 things I want to pass along. Over deliver. Now I forget the other 2. Just kidding. No, it's like definitely over
just
deliver.
do that.
Like that. If you can do that, you will win.
You're
Like
good.
again, like that is steadfast, evergreen. Just over deliver, and every great business does it. But I really think soft skills. Yeah. Brand is just soft skills. Soft skills are brand.
Yeah.
You are your
the
brand.
amplification of
You
the
are
soft
the one of
skill.
one at that
Right.
point. You're not a commodity. They're not choosing you because you're doing a $59 special. They're not choosing you just because you're in network with MetLife. you need to gain attention. And 3, spend money on things that bring real ROI. Like I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaching, which has helped me get to where I'm at today.
Right.
But you've got people who are afraid to go spend $15,000, but they'll spend $50,000 on a new scanner.
And my favorite pitch on the scanner, it only takes 3 more patients for this to pay for itself.
Yeah.
Nobody ever asks them where the patients are coming from, but they're like, oh, that's a great point. I'll have it.
Yeah.
And can I get it on a 40-year loan? At
Yep.
12% interest?
I'll pay more interest. I'll take more debt, but they won't spend that money on something to help them double their practice.
Yeah.
And then that doubling of the practice, now you just live in that world for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all that extra income and all the extra value you've created instead of but that one damn scanner.
And for those of you who just really want the scanner, think of all the scanners you could buy if the practice grew that much.
There you go.
You know?
If you can't write a check for it, don't buy it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, you were going down a path of like, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you. I actually have something I wanted to give you. I think there's a bag back there. This may be a reminder to you, but as you go forward, I think it's in line with that. So it's a catchphrase
Man,
that
I never get gifts. This is great.
This is a catchphrase you probably heard many, many times when you were in coaching with us. Fun alternative story. Used to be on the mirror of my brother's bathroom, but that's a whole other story for another day. But
Yeah.
the no excuses journal, right?
Yeah.
So
Earned, not given.
I like it. So keep doing what you're doing. It's impressive stuff. Not making excuses, making it about creating value. And I think the more people can do that, the more it's going to get. And I love the human piece of it is still going to be mandatory, even with AI. You still have to talk to human beings.
Yeah.
So don't think that that's just going to not. So I think when you can do both, that's going to be the really kick-ass practice of the future, which is a lot of fun. So awesome. Well, hey, thanks for coming in. This was great. I appreciate it. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Good time.
Dr. Hughes, thank you. We'll see you next time. Boom.